and digital identity. We just want you to notice that the session is recorded. So if you don't want to be seen on the screen, you can switch off your camera, but you can also switch it on. If you want us to see you, you're welcome for that. I'm going to introduce myself and my colleague. I am Karine Bacher-Eyroi. I am head of user services in the libraries of the University of Pau and Pays de la Dour. And here is my colleague, Gaelle Lannuzel, who is in charge of the services and the support to researchers in the libraries. And we are going to manage this session. Last practical information. Your questions are welcome, of course. So if you want to ask questions, you can use a chat. If you want to ask written questions, you can also raise hands with the team functionality, and we will answer. We will be happy to answer your questions. I think I've said all the more important, so I will let the floor to Gaelle to begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Karine. Thank you to be here with us this morning. So we spent about 2 hours together to speak about open identifiers and how to manage your researchers' digital identity. It's important for young researcher. I know there's a lot of PhD students of the University of Pau with us today, and perhaps others researchers of the UNITA Alliance members with us. And so to begin, I have to share my screen. Just there. Okay. So please, Karine said that all your questions are welcome, and we try to answer your question, of course. And to begin, sorry for my English. So I speak slowly because it's not my language, and I try to use simple words. And if there's something you don't understand, please you can put your hand to in Teams, or you can switch on your microphone and ask me to repeat, or if you have some question, please ask me. So the title of the intervention, it's use open identifiers and manage your researchers' digital identity. To begin, a brief presentation of our activities in the University of Pau, for you to help you to know what we do with researchers and PhD students. So I'm in charge of the library research support service, and I work with Karine. And sorry, perhaps it's better I close the microphone of
Gaelle, I think you closed your microphone. We can't hear you anymore.
Oh, I closed my microphone.
Yes,
Sorry. Oh,
now it's fine. Yeah, now it's fine.
I thought I was close the microphone of another person, but no, it's okay. No, thank you.
It's okay. Yes.
So our activities, our main activities, it's about Open Archive. So we have a platform, a national platform in France, and in UPPA, in the University of Po, there's a portal of this national platform, which is called HAL. It means hyper articled online. In this platform, all publications of scientific production of our researchers are references and referenced, and when it's possible, the full text is are deposited on it. So it's a large part of our activities. About the thesis of our PhD student, it's in our in this service we receive the manuscript, and my colleagues are in charge to disseminate the thesis and reference in the national website. And a large part of our activities too is training in direction of the PhD students and junior researchers to about masters. And we make a lot of open science promotion and workshop, for example, how to deposit the posters in the Open Archive, and a lot of user assistance for the researcher. Another part of our activities, but less important in time, but not in act. We collaborate with the service of strategic pilotage, strategic steering support with for the evaluation, for example. And we collaborate with the university publisher, with University Press, and work together about open access publication strategy. And we are operator too for to opening digital library. It's an open tools called Omeka S, perhaps you know it. And we have to work with researchers when they have a project about it. So for the beginning, the presentation, that's all. And so you know what we do in the University of Po and in the service. So to begin, we would like to know you a little. So during these 2 hours, there will be 3 small survey on the application called WooClap. It's very simple. You can use it on your computer or on your smartphone, if you want. To begin, if it's possible, to connect you to WooClap, I have opened my the survey, so you have to connect you. On the engine search, you put wooclap.com, and the event code, it's PID1. So please, if you can connect, and I begin the survey. Is it clear for everybody? You can use the comment session or open your microphone.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So I opened the survey, and the first question is to know where do you come from? Because we are in the context of UNITA, so with colleagues perhaps of Beira, Saragosse, University of Po, University of Savoie-Mont-Blanc, of Torino, and of Universitas de Vest in Timișoara, in Romania. So the result of the survey. Thank you. I don't think if everybody can answer. I don't think so. We are more than 13, I think. Perhaps not. I don't know. So in fact, there's a lot of people of University of Po. I know that because this training was a reference on the catalogue of the PhD student of Po, so it's logical. But we have another participant of other university. So thank you to be here. The second question. So to know who you are and what is your professional position. So are you researcher of PhD student or post-PhD students or research staff like ingénieur in France, for example, or technician, and or administrative staff like me, in fact, or other. So I have to ask what is other. I let you sometimes. These categories, it's categories we knows in France. So it's interesting to have another point of view of another countries, because in all the activities about researcher staff, about people who worked with researchers, it's interesting to know what are the practices in other country. So majority of PhD students and administrative staff too, no researcher. And two people said it was research staff, sorry. And two people said it's another category. So please, if you want to switch on your microphone to tell us what's your professional position, and to present you quickly.
I see on the chat, Gaelle, that Paola Cruveri said that she's a research technician, and other people, Lydia, don't know the family name, say that she's a librarian, like us, library.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just there, before beginning, to know if you have an idea and some words which can come quickly in your mind about digital identity. For you, what is it? It's an open. You can
An open
write.
question. You can write anything
Yes.
you got in mind, by the way. But it's interesting for us to see what's your approach of this concept before beginning this our explanations.
You can put several words, several sentences. Okay, so Orcid. So it's interesting. So you speak about many people. Oh, I put the list. It's more simple. So perhaps Karine, if you can help me some.
Yeah, I can comment a little, but well, I will put the emphasis on the main items, the main ideas. I want to try to make a synthesis of that. What I remark is that many of you talk about identity, of course, who you are, your name. Most of you talk about also about the quality and the veracity, the verity of your presence on internet, and that's an important point. We will come back to that further on. Some of you also talk about tools like identifiers, social networks, social or academic networks. This is part of the topic, by the way, and also about relations between your work and your personal life, and that's also a part of the issue. You mentioned Orcid. We will talk about Orcid in the last part of the session too. So I think you've got altogether you've got all the main points about the subject. I don't see if you remark anything else, Gaelle.
No, it's interesting. So there's some points very specific ideas. People spoke about all data. Archives, so PID, persistent identities of researchers, and it's the main purpose of this training. So for us, it's a good news. And the last questions before before the end of this little survey. Today, do you have specifically one expecting? What do you expect concerning this training? Do you have do you need something? Need to question, or do you have a? I let you. Okay. To improve the digital identity, it's a part of our training too. How to improve,
how to manage it correctly,
to manage it, and
how to create your own strategy, because the strategy, Gaelle will say it further, strategy can be different from one people to another, depending of your purpose and your personality. But but it's that is a question, by the way. But in this session, we didn't plan to tackle very precisely how to create one identifier, because there are different ones. We will go further. We'll go a bit deeper concerning Orcid, because it's an international identifier. Because so you can all be concerned by Orcid, but we won't show very precisely how to create other identifiers, because they are very specific to one discipline or to one country most of the time.
That we choose to speak about the PA persistent identifiers for everybody, and not only because there's a specific identifiers in each country. In France, we know it's ideal, for example, but Orcid, it's a good point of to enter, and it's the main international PID. So we have a focus on it at the end of the session. And to know what the best identifiers, we will speak about many identifiers and show you what's the advantage and what's its point of to be aware for with certain identifiers, and some platforms too. You have to be some point of caution, for example. And to manage identities, it's the first part of the training. So normally we can answer all the questions. So it's a good news too. So I show you the training plan. So to begin, some definitions. So what is digital identities? And after a short overviews of tools like platform and social networks or academics networks where you can improve your identity. And why scholars use social media, for what use, to say what about overall purpose of professional purpose. And for the first part, we finish by some advice to digital strategy for researchers and young researchers. And the second part of the training plan of the training, it's we will speak about open science identifiers for researchers, and a little panorama of different identifiers, and why research need identifiers, research people and founders, university, publishers too. And at the end, we'll make a focus on Orcid. And there's a lot of very simple and videos on the Orcid site, and we will give you all the tutorials to create your Orcid if you want. So to begin, what is digital identities? So there's many dimensions, and in fact, everything you share online or others people share about you is a part of your overall digital identity on the web. So it's so you know that it's important today to manage your digital identity during your academic and professional career to enhance your career opportunities. Here you have some different dimensions. So the digital identity, it's first of all, it's reputation. Reputations, it's comments, what people say about you on platforms, on networks. Another dimension, it's expression, your expression, what you say or what you write on the web. The audience, who you know on the web, your friends, for example, friends on Facebook, etc. Certificate, it's who can certify your identity and how. The publications, what you share on the web, text, on PDF, photos, comments on Twitter, for example. Purchases, so what you buy, you will receive recommendation of buy, you know it. Opinions, your digital identity, it's opinions is a part of your digital identity, what you like and what you don't like too. And after another dimensions, it's knowledge, so what you know, and your hobbies, contact details, how to join you with emails or another point of another tools to contact you. Avatar, your appearance, and profession, what is your job or your university studies, where do you work, etc. So digital identity, it's all these dimensions. So there's a lot of traces of you on the web. And about the traces, you have you can leave in fact 3 main types of traces about your person, about the social way and professional identity, email address, pseudos, etc. Traces of your activities, your professional achievements, your hobbies, your online discussions, blog posts, for example, too, and many others, and traces of your relationships in the online and in the physical world too. And there's 3 main typology traces. So you can let voluntary traces. That's all the data published by the web users on social networks, for example. There's computer traces. It corresponds to the IP address, and it gives information on the user's location or websites you have visited. And you let unintentional traces. It's everything that others say about the user by commenting on his publication. So as you can see, you can control some traces of your person, your activities, for example, your relationship too, but you can't control all traces. So it's important to know that, and perhaps think about a strategy to build your digital identity. Is it okay for this short introduction about digital identity, or is there a question? Karine, I don't see in the chat. No, that's no question. So I continue. And to the second point of this first part of training, a short overview of tools. I'm sure you recognize all the tools and perhaps or nearly all. So generalist tools and academics too. So here a short view of, it's a selection of the main tools. So you have two main types of tools, platform and networks to share contents and share contents, discussion, etc. And another type of tools to find content. So I put it the main tools like Twitter, LinkedIn, it's a professional network, ResearchGate and academia.edu, academic networks, Google Scholar, so I'm sure you know it, and to find contents, some another typology of tools like podcast, Instagram, three tools, the conversation and hypothesis to share some researcher in work. WordPress, it's a tools to create sort of scientific blogs, and YouTube for overall and for professional uses a lot, as you can see later. Perhaps at this time, do you have? I don't put every tools. Perhaps you have another suggestion. After I make a little survey, but if you want to have, if you have a remark at this time. So I continue. So about the main tools, I spoke just in the precedent slide. So you have two main academic networks. I think you know it. Perhaps you use it. Perhaps you have an account on it. It's ResearchGate and academia.edu. LinkedIn, it's a professional network. So you have on the main point of description of this academic networks, ResearchGate and academia.edu. So for your, as you can see, for the publication on ResearchGate and academia, you have individual profile of a researcher, PhD student, post-PhD, and other person too, and you can use it for the content to find data, to find articles, to know people who work on specific scientific subject. And it's very useful to make the link between people. And on these two academic networks, you can find publication. So researchers can deposit publication. And to begin an advice on the ResearchGate and academia.edu, when you deposit an article, a report, a text, be aware that the content no longer belongs to you. It's in the general condition of user. So we recommend always for your publication or all your scientific production, we recommend you to only put the link to a permanent URL of your publication. For example, for the PhD student here and the researcher in Po, we recommend to put scientific production on Open Archive, an institutional Open Archive with all the guarantees of citation, of conservation, and it's a non-profit platform. So put the link, but not deposit the full text. So do not use these networks to archive your documents. Documents can be exported and reused, and they are a profit platform. It's very useful for the link and between researchers, but use it like networks and not like an entrepôt.
This is not, what's important is that you use it for what they are made for, a relation, having relations with other researchers and improving your notoriety and your visibility in an international context as a researcher, but these are not storage platforms. So don't use it to store documents and publications.
Yes, but use the powerful networking of this international platform. But it's very interesting for you to use it, and because it's an international platform, and I don't remember, but that's about. I don't know, millions account in ResearchGate. It's the most important for all. It's multidisciplinary, and it's a very useful place to meet researcher. And you have some advantage, so you have metrics, so indicators of the number of use and download on ResearchGate. On academia.edu, you have the same services, but it's not, you have you have a freemium academia.edu, premium academia.edu, and freemium academia.edu. So for some services you have to pay, and for the metrics and to know who show your profile, you have to pay for it. So it's you see, as you can see, it's a profit tools. And for the both, it's very well referenced by Google and Google Scholar, so it's a very good international visibility. And for LinkedIn, I think many of people have an account on LinkedIn, so you know it, but to resume the advantage and specific services, it's a tool on which you can detail all your professional experience. And so you have to create your your professional profile with skills, news. You can share information, publish posts, etc. And I recommend you to put keywords on your skills to be well identified as an expert, and use concrete details about your research, and why it's important. And I think it's important to put your profile in public too, to have the best use of this professional network. Other tools, platforms and networks, social networks. So Google Scholar. So I have to it's not a good the good text. I'm sorry. I have to make the modification after. So for Google Scholar, it's you can find contents about content about scientific publication, and you can create your profile. So it's important to at least create your profile and attach your main publication. We have some example after. There's some limitations in Google Scholars. There's a lot of noise. Because there's homonyms, same names, for example. So researchers who have an account must check their publication, because Google Scholar attribute many publications that do not belong to you, to the author. So you have to check regularly your account and make the modification. But it's very important to have visibility on Google Scholar too. For Twitter, you know Twitter and the specific tools, so 280 characters to share link, exchange, so for overall use and for professional use too. You can communicate on the process of your research, make announce about events, conference, your reaction about scientific news, etc. And we will have some example after. 3 tools to share the research, the working research, la recherche en train de se faire.
Research in progress.
In progress, sorry. So WordPress, it's tools to make us sort of scientific work, blogs. Very intuitive and very easy to use. And I put you 2 examples of interesting platforms. It's the conversation. You have the version in French and in English. I don't think it's the same contents between the 2 languages. And here scientific post their research. It's high quality of vulgarization of research, and you can see yes, the work in progress. So it's very interesting. You can it's interesting, but you have to be aware. If you want to engage you in this type of processes on the conversation of hypotheses or scientific blogs, you have to manage your time, because it can take a lot of times, because it's important to have update on this type of blog, scientific blogs, and if the news are in the data are old, it's not good for your visibility. And to close YouTube, and there's a lot of videos are very powerful media, you know it, and there's a lot of capture of conference intervention, and it's very useful to improve your visibility and on your research. So now for our main purpose too, digital identity in academic environment, environment. So why today scholars use social media? Everybody, tout le monde n'utilise pas, et pourquoi certains utilisent?
What we want to show you is the different purposes, different goals in the to use internet. Why some people use it and why some people don't. And there is not an ideal way to manage your researcher's identity. That's our main message. There are several ways depending of your purpose, the time you can consume in this activity, etc.
Thank you, Karine. So before beginning this part, another little survey, if you want, for us to know if you use platform or social networks, and if you use it, if you have currently using, and for what. So I have, so like for the first survey, you can go to wooclap.com and the event code, it's ID2. And you can use a QR code if you use your smartphone too. It's very it works. So for the first question, for overall use, so not professional, what are you currently using? So yes, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, ResearchGate, academia.edu, Orcid, the other choice, Google Scholar Citation, YouTube, and why I can't. I think it's not so easy because I have not all the screen. But we have all the result, the comparison of the two questions after. So a lot of people use YouTube and Twitter. So people have an account on Twitter, Facebook too, less than Twitter, Instagram, ResearchGate, academia.edu, Orcid, Google Scholar Citation, etc. So this first question was for overall use, so not only for professional one. So I have to ask you the same question now, and for what are you currently using for your professional use? So in the context of your research, of your studies, of your work, or people who are not a researcher. So you can go. I think it's okay. So for our to the result and the difference between the two uses, we have this comparison. Perhaps difficult to read, but between the first session, it was for overall use, and the second session for professional uses. Sorry. So as it's not very useful. Instagram and LinkedIn have the same colors. So it's not so easy to see the difference.
What we can see, which is not very surprising, but we just wanted to check if that your use is different, whether you want to use, whether you have a professional use or a general use for personal or mixed purposes. What we in the top results for the general use, we can see the general so the general social networks like Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc., Facebook, but also Google Scholar citations, which is well placed in both questions. So it's interesting, and for academic use, this is not a surprise. In the top results, we can see specialized tools which are more focused on research activities, like ResearchGate or Orcid, and again Google Scholar citations. That's my main remarks on that. I don't know if you see anything important, Gaelle.
I saw that, but it's confirmed what we can see here. That's for the academics social networks. There's more uses on ResearchGate than on academia.edu. And so if you have to choose to create an account on one of the both, it's better for you to be on ResearchGate and use it like a social media, of course. And no, it's interesting. It's generally the way people use this type of social media and platforms. So it's
one other conclusion which is interesting is that you all of you, I think, use several tools, even for only professional purposes or even for personal purposes. And that is also the conclusion. If you want to have a strategy, it's important to be on several platforms because that increases your visibility. But it's more difficult to have a strategy because you have to know for what you will use each tool. But it's also a conclusion that these tools are complementary, and that you have to think about which specific use you can have for each one to have the better visibility on internet. And we will show you some example to illustrate that and to talk about that just now, I think.
Yes, and you will see this researchers and PhD or post-PhD uses several tools, but often the same. And it's important to choose platform and tools which can have a connection between them, because you can have the share of data, and if you post something on tools, there's relay. Oui, un relais.
Interesting to make links between
Links.
different accounts to so that all the information is kind of centralized and sorry. The information will not really depend of the tool to which people connect, because they will find all the same information. We can have a link to all the informations, even if they use Twitter, your Twitter account or your Google Scholar citations profile. But we will show some example. It's also important to not to copy other people, but to to monitor, to have a bit of monitoring activities on internet to see how other researchers and how your colleagues manage their own identity. Because as said Gaelle, there are disciplinary or community habits, and that it's important to do the same as others, because these are the place to be.
But you can choose your own strategy to improve your research, to have visibility, and common tools and very generalist tools like Twitter could be a good choice, but you have to manage your time and to adopt some rules at the beginning to don't because you have to you are in the economy of your times for your research and for young researchers. So, but we show you some examples. It's possible. So here you have a result of a survey in Springer Nature, in not so old. And on the use of different social media platforms for the overall and professional activities. So it's the same like the survey just before in the precedent slides. So as you can see, between the professional and the overall use, in fact, you find for the researcher the use, the big use of ResearchGate. And in fact, there's a lot of researchers who deposit their articles on ResearchGate. So it's not the good way to improve visibility, to communicate on the research. Just for example, 5 or 6 years ago, the main publisher Elsevier had attacked ResearchGate and win against the platforms, because researchers deposit articles of the Elsevier's journals, and but they can't deposit the editor versions. So Elsevier attacked the ResearchGate, and ResearchGate had to supprimer. To suppress all articles, millions of articles, and had to pay I think $2 million or $3 million to the publisher. So be aware of that. And so it's very important to put the link, permanent link, on the institutional repositories. So the big use of ResearchGate for the researchers, and big use of Google Scholar citations. So because you are when you have an account on Google Scholar, So you have to check your publication, and you have some metrics, and it's very interesting. You have the use of your works, and it's very researchers use it and like it, so they use the Google Scholar citation too. And after you have the professional networks LinkedIn, so it's very useful to have your profile too on it. As you can see, at academia.edu, it's there's a use of this platform, but less than ResearchGate. Mendeley, like Zotero, it's not that in the list, no. Mendeley, it's tools to share bibliographical reference and to make to have a database of reference. It was an open tools, but now Mendeley belong to Elsevier, I don't think. Elsevier or Web of Science, I think. Okay, so it's now it's not it's open, but belong to a profit organization. And a use of Orcid, yes, big use of Orcid. As you can see, you can use it like a persistent identifiers to connect you on a lot of application in the world of research, and you can use it like a CV too. It's a very that's a big international visibility. And the use of institutional profile pages. If you have the possibility to have a personal page on the website of your university, of your labs, it's very interesting for you. Because you have the caution, non, pas la caution de l'établissement, c'est pas caution, c'est Infosamis. Guarantees of your university of institution. And as you can see, for the overall use, but you have Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter, but there's a professional use of Twitter, and I'll give you some example. So for the uses of Twitter, for example, it's a focus on it. It's survey on nature too, about the main uses. So as you can see, researchers was had a use of Twitter for their work. The first use it's to follow discussions and participate at discussions and to post content. And it's useful to discover peers and discover recommended papers too. And comment on research, etc., and share links. So it's a very useful tools and immediate tools. It go quickly, and you have the the file of news on the research events, etc. Oh no, it's just for it's like a joke, but perhaps not so a joke. If you have to time, it's I recommend you the website PhD Comics, and sometimes you can find some diagram and cartoons like that to in relation with the scientific publication. So why academics really use Twitter, and it's not the same same response that in the survey by Nature, as you can see. But perhaps it's true sometimes. Yes. To show you many profiles and many use of media, social media, networks, and tools. We have seen just before. I made a selection of some researchers. I'm sorry, it's only French researcher because we know them better. And two of them are we make our promotion. Two of them are researcher and post-PhD student of the University of Po. And well, you will it's you have you can see again the training. So I recommend you to make the research on Google, on this engine, search engine, with the name of this different researcher. But you can make the same exercise with researcher of your disciplinary, of your university, of your country, or other example. It's a very interesting, sorry, to see the use and the different uses between disciplinary or between the choice they made to communicate their research. So if you want, you can. I recommend you to put write these words on Google and see the first results. We seen it together. Like. So I select the first. It's a chemist of University of Po. The second, it's a physician, I think, of the University of Lyon. The Bruno Dondero, it's a lawyer of the Sorbonne University. Valeria Gabelia is chemist, or yes, I think, of Bordeaux. And the last one, it's a geograph of University of Po. For the exercise, it's and the exercise you can do after with other other names of researchers. Say what you think of them. You can detect their position. Is it only professional positions or personal positions too? What networks or what platform do they use? It's important to you, and I recommend you to try to make the research with for PhD student, for example, to your directory of studies of thesis. To know if they use something or not, and perhaps if they don't use, ask them why they don't use social academic networks or platforms. It's interesting to know why, and it's very useful to to see what is differences in content between the different tools, different media. No, so I'll stay on this. So for the five profile I select, So for the first one, it's so Germain Salvatore Valverdu. It's a professor at the University of Po, and the first result on Google, as you can see, it's the institutional website. It's the first, it's very well referenced, so it's important for you to use the generalist tools, but if you can have a page of a mention of the institutional website of your university, it's very important for you because it guarantees for you, it guarantees the quality of your research and your position. And as you can see, it's on the result, it's LinkedIn, used as a for a CV. You have the other the link with other researchers, the little short introduction, experience, and formation, the project. It's a choose of these researchers. You have to manage your profile on LinkedIn. You can choose some specific items or not, and make link about another blog, personal website of the institutional website. So it's useful to in each tools here in professional networks to put the link between others platform you use. After this researcher share content on tools on GitLab, for example, and because he share a lot of advice, tutorials, etc., on his subject and on his discipline. So as you can see, there's tags on Python. It's an application, and tags about his main topics. The second profile, it's Sylvain Deville. It's researcher on Lyon 1 University, a physician of material science. And as you can see, the first result, it's Twitter. So he used, it's a very, the importance of Twitter for this research, it's very, very high. As you can see his profile. Here you can see he mix professional and not private life, but his hobby. There's a lot of humor. It's a photograph amateurs. He like birds, so he posts a lot of subject about news in his everydays. Sorry, and oh, a lot of words. He was very inspired. So the professional mentions are have sedimented, I think. So as you can see, it's interesting to see it's the first result. So it's a very high presence on Twitter for this these researchers. But there's many mentioned of his works too. But the part of his hobby, and reaction today, reaction for every day. It's a very important part of on his account. And he decided to create a personal blog. So it's very demands a lot of times, but it's very interesting. So you have a create his avatar, but as you can see here, you have the topic of his research, the publication, and for the publication, it's another website, and you have the link to the publication, and the link, as you can see, when you have this logo, click and read, you have the assurance guarantee that you can have the full text after. And after reference on Google Scholar, but a lot of he has a lot of publication. And after, as you can see, like for the first example, LinkedIn too, and the mention of his thesis, and like a director of thesis too. And in the it's a fifth or it's sixth position, the institutional website on CNRS, so the National Center for Research in France. And after, it's interesting, you have all the publication of the Open Archive platform in France. So he has an account on Al Hyper Article online with all this publication. It's a good example because he has a very is convinced about open science, and he put the full text on AL when it's when it's authorized. Another example. It's Bruno Dandero, so a lawyer in France, and he chose to create a blog on WordPress, like we speak about it. He has a Wikipedia page. So it's very interesting for you, and I hope you will have one page after. It's a very good visibility for you. And here, so for the blog, it's interesting. So you have many topics, and he mix subjects about his research, and it's lawyer and it's professor, so he put some courses on his blog, and another way to make courses, and here it's a ludic courses about the law. So Wikipedia, an institutional private site website, because it's jurist. The institutional website. And after, as you can see, many videos on YouTube, because he chose to share sorry, the courses, all the video for his communities, his students, but for everybody. So with a lot of humor each time, about low topics, but each time with a lot of reference to the cinema. The first example, so Valérie Gabellica, it's a chemist in Bordeaux University. So as you can see, the first result, it's his institutional page on INSERM. And just after, a lot of video on her for the prices because she had a lot of prizes about his research on Wikipedia page, institutional website too, LinkedIn. It's a mix between public and private and
professional, but in a private group. But this is also professional activities.
Yes.
By the way.
And Twitter too, etc. So you, as you can see, this you see there's a lot of correspondence between all the profile, not in the same order of appearance, but it's the same tools, as you can see. And to finish, an interesting example for the PhD students and young researchers. It's geograph at post-PhD now, geograph in the Po University, and he managed his digital identity very well. So he created his own blog, and as you can see, it's interesting because you can see here all his presence on the web. So on Orcid, on the Open Archive HAL, on Zotero, it's tools about bibliographical reference, on ResearchGate, Google Scholar, LinkedIn, Twitter, science.re, I don't remember what is it. Here it's for young researchers, and on the GitLab it's to share contents like the first researcher I show you to post data, some data and result you can reuse after. So he has his university activities, his lab note, and many links. So it's interesting. He centralized all his information on his personal blog, and after the second result, it's all his publication. He decided to put it in open access when he can, and as you can see, he put again is Orcid and the main networks we use. And you have here all the publication and with nearly each time the full text. The national portal for the thesis and a link to labnotehypothese.org and his profile on ResearchGate. So it's a very good example, an example to follow for the young researcher. But I know it's a strategy. It's well think before, and it's very exigent. it takes time, but if you have if you think about the strategy before beginning, you choose some tools and you stay. It's you don't spend too much time after. It's quotidian and it's regularly habits.
And you can also gain time if you really care, if you're really careful on making links between those the platforms, because if you do that, you don't duplicate the information most of the time. You just have to make a link, and the information is here. If I can add a remark, it's also important to see they have different strategies, but anyway, in each example, you can see that it's a thought strategy and very structured one. They have thought before on how they will manage their identity. And one conclusion that I want to share you and with Gaelle is that what I remark is that there are the traces you let on internet and the traces other let on internet about you. And the more you will let traces yourself, traces that you choose to let, and that and which are part of your strategy. The less the traces you can control will be visible. So you have to think about that too. It's important to be active. To let information that you manage, that you have the control on it, and to update them regularly, because the more recent informations always appear in the first places, in the first results, while searching on Google or other search engines. So that was a small remark to complete what Gaelle said.
So we don't know this exercises together, but it's just for you to make like a state of art of your digital identity. I recommend you to search your name in Google and show and ask you some questions, and after when you made this state of art, you can think about your personal strategy after. But I pass on this time. And to finish this first part, it's the time go on. So digital strategy for researchers. So I give you some advice for you. So today the main question is to be or not to be on the social networks, because it's as I said to you, in the evolution of scientific production, at the beginning, the main issue was publish or perish. And then after, it's be visible or vanish. And today, more and more, it's promote or perish. So it's difficult to make a choice and to go in a good way. A researcher in information, which called Olivier Herzshed, researcher in information science, said it's better to be exposed and present than the opposite. So yes, but how? So sometimes it seems difficult to find a good balance between the online presence, not enough or too much presence. You have to find the good way. So find a good balance between the online presence and the presence in scientific events, because all is not digital, and and it's the main purpose of this little strip here. as you can see. So some top tips for PhD students here for their future profiling research careers. It's to to be aware about communicate your research. So by Twitter, by a personal scientific blog. If you have something, a prediction to disseminate, if you can disseminate it, it's very useful to put it on Open Archive, and use professional social media to improve your visibility. So here you can have, if you ask you on this question, I think you can build a strategy about you have to choose what are your priority, and which you want to make visible on the web first. Is it professional, scientific, personal? All your personalities too. As you can see, with the use of Twitter, you can speak about your hobby, but post a link and contents about your research. You can mix the both on Twitter, for example, but on ResearchGate, for example, it's very it's the research activities you have to show. So with these questions, you can choose the good medias, the good networks for you. And to which audience do you want to address? And it depends of your choice. You have to choose the different tools. And here's some example, for example, to manage your identity and begin to build your strategy of communication. First of all, to determine your identity, your name, your surname, it's important to choose an email, email with an institutional domain like university point It's sometimes better than gmail.com because it's a guarantees. And after you can switch, if you leave a university and you have another employees, you change your email, but it's better to choose your institutional email. Choose a photo. If you have several tools, several networks, it's important to have the same, not for example, the same photo, but the same update of not an old photo and a new one. It's important to have the same ambience, the same image. So make a start of that of your presence on the web. Transition for the second part, say manage your researchers' PIDs. See. So know the available tools, we spoke about it. Deposit your publication in Open Archive, and after all, if you have publication, it's important to monitor impact of your strategy, and you have to. I spoke about Google citation, for example, but you have metrics on several tools and networks like ResearchGate, academia.edu, on Google Scholar too. You have metrics on Open Archive too. You can see the numbers of view, the numbers of download, etc. So with this statistic, you can manage yours. You can have another strategy if you. So it depends on the result. It's a resume, very short to-do list, and example of kind of calendars for action. You make this one times. You have to connect regularly to update about once a week. Don't forget to publish and communicate on your work when it's necessary. And if you want to check metrics 4 times a year, it will be good, I think. So the second part, for the open science identifiers for researchers. We spoke about it. We spoke about Orcid, but that's another's. And why we need open science and persistence identifiers for researchers. A good example, it's a problem of, as you can see, it's an article in Nature. So as you can see, Y. Wang was the most prolific authors of scientific publication. You can see the numbers of his publication, but there's about 30 or 40 or more than that Wang. So it's not only one person, one researcher who have published all these publications. So it's very important to have one persistent identifiers for the homonymy, for example, for the homonyms, sorry. So there's a problems of identification, sorry, of authors, homonyms. There's linguistic variants too. And for the same researchers, sometimes there's abbreviations, change of affiliation, change of names, and some errors. So the main questions are how to know the production of a researcher in an exhaustive way, and how to follow it, how to measure its impact without noise, without error. So there's a lot of dispersion of researchers' production sometimes on different sites and different tools. And so how to rationalize the system. And in research, we need identifiers in all the dimensions. Researchers need identifiers, but library too for catalogs or open archive. The university for laboratories, thesis, etc. Founders too, for the submission of project, for the evaluation too. Publishers need identifiers too for the right books, journal, etc. So there's a lot of needs in the big world of the research. A last survey for you. I open it. It's okay. It's open. And we would like to know if you use PIDs, so persistent identifiers for researchers. So you can ask for this simple question: do you use it or not? Or perhaps you use it but you don't know. 4 of you don't know if you have persistent identifiers for researcher. It's common. Sometimes people have, some researchers have an archive, for example, because they need an archive to submit papers or to tribe to Congress, but they forget they had an archive. So they have it, but they don't use it. And two of you have a PIDs. I don't know which one, but we will know it with the second questions. Thank you. So here's some persistent identifiers. Researcher ID. I don't know, I don't say you, what is it? Scopus ID, Ideal, so it's for the French researcher. Orcid, professional librarian or documentalist PID like VIAF, it's international PID, ISNI to IDRF, it's for the librarian in France. And you have two PIDs, two disciplinary PIDs like RIPEC short ID for economist and archive ID for physician. So as I can see, 6 of you have an archive ID, and you know you have an archive. And 2 of you researcher ID, it's about environment of the Web of Science, and a Scopus ID, it's an ID created by the editor, the publisher Elsevier. And do you think it's useful to have it? Yes, thank you. It's, don't understand. The first it's yes, the second it's no, and the third I don't know. Okay. So perhaps we have to convince some of people about the useful of having a PID. Oh, we pass because I think the time it's go on, so never mind for the last questions. So thank you for your response for this little survey. And I continue about the main PID for researchers. So as you can see, you can find the 2 PIDs about publisher, about Clarivate of a Web of Science, so the researcher IDs, and the Scopus author ID. So to each producer or database, publisher, open archive, the library ecosystem, there's a potential PID. You have identifiers from commercial database, researcher ID, Scopus ID, for example. And in this case, the PID is automatically assigned by the system. But for researcher ID, researcher can create his PID. And you have PID for Open Archive. In France, it's Ideal. And for example, for archive, for the physician, and other type of archive, bioarchive, med archive, etc. You have an archive author ID. So there you can create this PID in the environment of this specific disciplinary open archive. And you have identifiers from the library ecosystem. So in this case, researcher can't create this PID. It's a PID for the documentalist and librarian, and in an often in national or international catalog of scientific publication. And we will speak about Orcid. So Orcid, it's a global and international PID. It's a long-term contributor identifier, so persistent identifiers. Orcid is a global system. It's a non-profit organization, and a researcher can create his Orcid. And just for your information, for ResearchGate and Academia Point du, you can have a PID too, but that's a problem to classify the URLs assigned by academic social networks among persistent identifiers. It's not persistent identifiers. They are not based on principles of durability, standardization, and interoperability. So it's there for a short panorama. And in your country and your disciplinary platform, you can have other PID, but we will speak about the main used in the international scientific context. Here, some example. It's very short, but some example for only one researcher, and you can see his different profile and his different PID in several platforms. Here we are on a Scopus platform, so it's publisher Elsevier. The Elsevier assigned automatically a Scopus author ID to Philippe Gambette, but as you can see, the publisher made the link always with the Orcid. So Orcid is the most important for the researcher today. In the international way. For the PID Elsevier, be aware that there's possibility of several identifiers for the same author. So author has to check and must ask for correction to the support service. But there's interconnection between Scopus ID and Orcid, so it's useful for to make the good link between the same researcher. Here it's on the site. It was Clarivate Analytics, Web of Science. Today it's on Publons, but it's the same PID. It's a researcher ID. Researcher can create this one, but it's there's no control by the system. So any researcher can create his own researcher ID. He can attribute any publication to himself. So author must ask for correction sometimes to the support service, like for Scopus ID. But as you can see on this website, you have the number of publication, the number of citation, and the hash index and metrics and the research field. Here it's specifically for France, but it's an example for others. So you have a profile on the Open Archive of Philippe Gambette, and all the PID are list. And the list of PID are here. So you can see, you can make the link between all of them. And at least the international and non-profit identifiers. So it's opening and interoperability principles. Today, there's about 12 million of personal accounts of researchers on Orcid. So it's a very big for you. And for the European community, it's there's European community support Orcid because it's sustainable, non-profit, non-proprietary, it's open and interoperable identifiers. So it gives guarantees about open science principles. So why researchers identifiers? I think I have not the time to show you the videos, but it's a resume, summary of the abstract summary of the precedent purpose about PID for researchers. You have the subtitles of this video. So it's a testimony of researchers, but it's the same purpose we spoke just before. So I prefer to make the focus on Orcid because it's the main important subject for you. And if you have to choose to create an archive, it's a moment if you have it. So Orcid is a unique identifier with 16 numbers. Registration in Orcid and use of the Orcid is free. It is used worldwide by research organizations and their members, by researchers, of course, and by publishers, funders, and evaluation agency. So it's the main PIDs today for all researchers and in all disciplinary subject. So I choose to pass the video. I have to make something for the sound, I think, but I don't know exactly what. Tu penses que ça va marcher?
C'est quand tu partages. Si ça marche pas, après, il faut aller. Mais normalement, quand tu partages, tu mets que tu veux partager le son aussi. Quand tu as partagé, ton écran.
Alors, je vais repartager.
Il faut faire attention. Quelquefois, c'est par défaut et d'autres fois, il faut bien indiquer « je veux partager le son » en même temps que le...
C'est bon. Merci, Karine. Ça devrait marcher.
It was a French aparté, but...
It was technical, but
technical
it's useful
information just for Gaelle and me, so it's okay now.
Meet Sofia Maria Hernandez Garcia. She is an active and accomplished scholar in her field. She does research, writes and publishes, teaches, speaks at conferences, the things that most researchers and scholars do throughout their career. She has done her work at several different organizations and has been fortunate to receive grants to support her research.
Ah, I'm sorry.
Meet Sofia Maria Hernandez Garcia. She is an active and accomplished scholar in her field. She does research, writes and publishes, teaches, speaks at conferences, the things that most researchers and scholars do throughout their career. She has done her work at several different organizations and has been fortunate to receive grants to support her research. Meet Sofia Maria Hernandez Garcia. She is an active and accomplished scholar in her field. She does research, writes and publishes, teaches, speaks at conferences, the things that most researchers and scholars do throughout their career. She has done her work at several different organizations and has been fortunate to receive grants to support her research. Sophia wants to concentrate her time and energy on her scholarship, though sometimes things get in the way. Funding organizations want to review her past work before making an award. Her institution needs her to provide a complete list of her works for her promotion review. Potential collaborators are trying to figure out if she is the Sofia Garcia they're looking for. The internet, repositories, and other resources can help answer some of these questions, but they all have the same core challenge. They attempt to link research activities and researchers based on the spelling of a person's name. As individual as we each are, our names are actually not that unique. Even in the same field or institution, there can be others with similar or even the exact same name. And it can get even worse if you consider all of the potential variations of a name. Names can change over time, are sometimes expressed in different ways in different situations or languages. So when someone searches for Sophia, they may or may not find all, and only the things that can be attributed to her work. Today, many institutions and agencies solve this problem with paperwork. They ask Sophia to fill in forms, to list her works, and include her affiliations and funding history. Some may even ask her to list her collaborators along with their past work, affiliations, and funding. What is related to Sophia's work and what is not? There has to be a better way. Orcid IDs are unique and persistent identifiers specifically for researchers, analysts, and scholars. With an Orcid ID, Sophia can clarify what activities are hers, regardless of how her name is expressed. Sophia registered for a free ID at the orcid.org website. Orcid is a nonprofit organization that allows our users to control what data are linked to their identifier and how those data are made public, shared with a limited group, or made private. The community may access data made public by our users for no fee. and also attach it to her organization and any new public research activities she engages in, such as publishing a paper, releasing a data set, or applying for a grant. With the ID attached to her activities, it makes it easier for people, institutions, and systems to figure out which activities are Sophia's, even if her name doesn't always appear in the same way, distinguishing her from others with the same or similar name. Orchid IDs are collected and used internationally by many institutions, including publishers, repositories, professional associations, universities, funders, and research organizations. In addition to attaching her ID to new activities, Sophia can allow these organizations to read her ORCID record to get her already curated list of past activities. Best of all, if Sophia leaves her current institution, the ID travels with her, along with the list of all of her past activities. She can continue to use the same ID throughout her career, even if she changes employers, moves to another country, or starts to do work in another field. By linking the ORCID ID to her work when submitting a manuscript, applying for a grant, or registering for a meeting, Sophia ensures that the organization she works with can get the information they need with less paperwork for her. It means people will find all and only her work when they search the internet. Sophia can spend her time concentrating on what matters most, and that makes her very happy. Get your ORCID ID today. It only takes 30 seconds to register for one and is completely free. ORCID, connecting research and researchers. Meet Sophia.
Oh, so in fact, we arrived to pass the video. It was not so simple, but it worked. Uh, we arrive at the end of the training, so I think it's better to don't pass this last testimony. It was the last slide about orchids, and you have a researcher's testimony in archaeology, why they choose orchid and what they use. But in the website of orchid.org, you have many resources and many short tutorials and the tutorials to create your orchid and choose the parameters. You have to find setting because you can have a profile, public profile. I recommend you to choose a public profile, and or you can have a private one. It depends of your objectives, and it's very, as video said, it's very simple to create your orchid. And when you will have an archive, and if you have an archive, and when you use it more often, you can see that there's many way to use ORCID ID. As soon as you see in a platform of website of a social network, as you can see this logo, you can log in with your ORCID. So it's more simple too, because you have not so login and keywords. You can use your ORCID for every for a lot of application, even if for your institutional account, sometimes I know it's used to connect to institutional account in some university in France, for example. So you can use ORCID when you when submitting a manuscript and an articles, thesis, when applying for funding, when depositing in a repository or open archive, when, as you can see, validating an account on a database, LDAP, etc. So it's very, very useful. So for researchers and researcher staff and administrative staff, it's useful to have an archive too. To conclude, so we seen together what digital identity is, some advice, some top tips to manage your identity and to have a strategy for your visibility and the visibility of your research with many tools, and to have a strong position and to make a strong link between you and your work. The PID, the persistent identity for researchers, you have to choose, and you can choose several and make the link between us. And it's very useful. For example, in France, we make the link between three main PIDs. It's IDEAL, the identity, the identifiers for the Open Archive, the Orcid, so the international PID, and for the professional and the library identity, so not created by the researcher, we have the ID-REF for all the scientific publication catalogs in France. So there's many PID, but the most important, there's not so then it's two or three main, and if you choose it, if you have it, it's you can improve your visibility. Karine?
No, that's really, it's also important that to complete what Gaelle said. It's also important to use these persistent identifiers, because they also give you some possibilities, opportunities with their functionalities, especially Orcid. But if you have an Orcid and if you deposit your publication is in your institutional repository, like AL in France, they can be automatically pushed into Orcid. So you put your publication in one place, and they are visible. They can be visible on Orcid, on catalogs, etc. So it's really these are really powerful tools. Sorry. Now I don't know if you have any question. You can still ask them, or send them to us later. I just want to add as a conclusion that you always, if you have any question or difficulties, or if you need assistance for your digital identity for your identifiers, to create your Orcid or to manage it, I don't know. You may have some resource persons in your institutions. Here at the UPPA, Gaelle and I and our service can be a resource, and we provide assistance on that. And in your university too, you have libraries or research support services which can help you to manage all that identifiers, or give you advice, or tell you good practice, or give you checklist to do the best for that. We will, if you have no more question, we will just thank you. Gaelle put her email on the chat if you want to note it. And we will thank you for your participation and your contribution to the survey. because it's always good and great to have some interaction with the participants while doing a training. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much for all. Thank you to comment dire, l'indulgence pour mon anglais poussif.
For being indulgent for English, but I think she did very well. So, well, there is a question about the attendance certificate. I personally don't have the answer, but perhaps Maria Gracia, if you are still there, you have the answer to that question. I think they will be sent or available in.
For the PhD students in the University of
Yeah.
Po, I give the list to the doctoral school to validate the presence for this on this training.
And for other people, I think they can be available via the UNITA staff. But I don't know more about that.
Thank you very much for your participation, and I
Have
hope
a nice day.
you have a good top tips to the future and to improve your visibility. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.